Oh wow, so we really are interested. Okay. Okay, Q. Okay. Okay. Well, this is MulDiversity. Apparently we're introducing everything today because you know how it is. Avia, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Yeah, this is
I'm
kind
doing
of like
great.
A&A, isn't it?
Right.
Dang, it's almost like we could just get our guest and forget the other two mains ones, right? Well, y'all know what it is. You know, this is A Ron. This is Aaron Michael Johnson. You know, the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. And to my, I guess my right, we have the judge
Avia.
herself.
Yes.
You know, even though technical difficulties persist on my end, we still keep going. And for some reason, I don't know why. You know, the main man himself isn't here yet, but you know, we got Odd Geek coming in. We just saw him. I don't know why he dipped. Oh, here's the man of the hour himself,
Yes.
the writer, the man that I have been talking to for like what, a
Thank you.
year, Spyder
Yeah.
Dobrofsky
Yes.
himself.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We linked up on Twitter, dude. It's wild.
Yeah.
The new landscape.
Oh my gosh. It is like yeah, it's been a crazy year. It's been
Oh
a
yeah.
crazy year
Oh
since
yeah.
we, you know, linked up. But you know, first off, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I just got out of the ocean and I'm talking to you guys. Things are great. We
See,
got
awesome.
we got
This man's so
50
cool.
to 55-degree weather in LA, which is
Oh.
kind of cold actually.
Oh, oh,
You know,
that's right.
it's a
Yeah,
ridiculous.
you're the
LA
LA. You got that LA cold. It's weird. It's like
coldness.
what, 70 degrees here?
Oh yeah, it's hot
Yeah,
here.
same.
Oh really?
Same.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we had that crazy storm that hit a few days ago. I was up. I was actually up like NorCal area, and it was like there was like 20, 25-foot waves. It was crazy. It was like a
Oh,
wild,
wow.
like 1.5 day storm, and then it was like sunny the next day.
Ooh.
See, one of these days, I promise you, Spider, we're all gonna come to LA and we gotta link up because man,
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, can you teach us how to surf, by the way?
Yeah, you got it.
Please.
Of course.
like
I'm
that
gonna
would be
just
dope.
take pictures and record as y'all surf.
yeah,
Y'all are not about to get me in no deep water like that. I'm good.
Yeah, like
Man knows what he's doing. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
You gotta see like some of the videos this man has on Twitter and Instagram. Man knows what he's doing. Like
well, that's
I'm in
that's
awe.
you guys know like when you're trying to be a writer, you have to do something to keep yourself sane other than just like write and then wait. Otherwise you just find yourself waiting by the phone or your email. And I did that route too, where I was just like writing and no sort of like side passions and things. And if you don't hit big really fast, you go crazy. Like you literally lose your mind. So I feel like all writers who like have their like joy, happiness part of their equation have like something else going on in their life other than just writing, because you just can't sustain that level of hard work without some sort of like, other hobby or, if you're making them into films, things like that. Just so at least for me, that's like surfing and when it's winter, it's still surfing.
Oh, for sure.
Just with booties and like a thicker wetsuit.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's interesting you mention that because you're right. Like, you will go stir crazy because Aaron will tell you, like, 10 years, 10 years just, coming, writing and just like, oh man, they haven't contacted me yet. It's a no, it's a rejection. Like, it's this and it's that. He's like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Relax. We're going to be take a breath. We're going to figure something out. I'm like, okay.
Good advice to take a breath. That's really actually the best advice. And like people, I remember someone told me 10 years. Because I'm 29 now, and I was like 19 at the time. I was writing my first script, and I finished it, and they were like, it's going to take you 10 years. And I was like, screw you, you're wrong. I'm going to, and it was the worst thing ever. And I'm like, holy crap, like things are getting going now. And I'm like, it's been about 10 years. But yeah, just just to stick into it for the long game. It's in theory very easy, because when you're in the writing zone of like a script or whatever, whether you're a novelist or whatever you like to write, that part is so fun. And then you go out with it, and then you have to accept there's going to be a lot of rejection, and then you got to start the next one, and you kind of go through that process. But you actually learn so much from script to script that if you could tell somebody like, hey, don't worry about any of the rejection, any of the, the roadblocks and the obstacles, because we all feel that we're going to have, our path is going to be obstacle free. And then when it's not, we're like, what's going on? It's me, it's this, it's my material. And it's just like, it's a timing, the timing part of the writing thing is just, it's part of the equation. And, everyone is writing with their own voice. And that's what makes every writer, so unique. And also it's actually not a competition because, everyone should have their own voice. And so it's just finding that right reader who then also fights for that script, and then that script gets made, or, so those things all happening is, I think, why it makes it so, challenging and also so rewarding when things do happen.
Facts. So if you don't mind me asking, what is your like origin? So what got you, what made you decide definitively that you wanted to be a screenwriter?
My origin, I actually started out with like making movies and just camera stuff. I was actually on the Jay Leno show when I was 13 for this car website. I used to videotape cars and turn it into like these like edited videos with like music and stuff of like, very nice cars. And I ended up filming this like guy who crashed his like $2 million car on the PCH, and it went viral, and they used my like footage and like the case, and like I ended up on like Jay Leno and all these like Nightline big television shows. And so I was just loved video, camera work and kind of making movies without scripts. And then in college, I started writing. I had a good class, and I ended up selling like a Hallmark story buy in college. And, I actually, my parents were writers, and I hated writing. I thought it was the worst thing ever for like my whole life. I was like, I'm never going to do that. I just, it seemed so awful sitting in front of a computer all day. No, I love it. But yeah, that was my origins. And then, I've just been kind of writing spec scripts and selling a couple Christmas movies. And, I kind of had my first big break like back in 2015 with like a decent sized Christmas TV movie. And that went really well. And then I post about it a lot. I went on the ultimate dry streak for 5 years. I didn't book a single job. And it was very humbling, actually. Because I like 23, I sold this movie. It was on set in Canada. A couple people asked me for my autograph. I'm like, this is the easiest shit ever. Writing is so easy. I'm the king. And then I came back, and like I had like 50 general meetings on this sci-fi script, and I didn't turn one of them into a job. And then, I was delivering food. I was like, holy shit, I've lost the magic touch. And then, things with COVID kind of reversed around by the end of the year. So I always tell people, just like stick to it,
And that's an awesome story. That's what people need to hear now, not to give up and just to keep persevering, regardless of your situation.
Yeah. And I always had friends. They were like, "You're so lucky you got a movie made when you were young, because it's so hard." And I was like, well, I sometimes felt that was like this thing that made it seem like, for me, it felt like I was going downhill, because it was like, why can't I do it again? And so everyone's situation is just different, and everyone's, like I said, everyone's actual roadblocks come in different forms. So as long as you're like, hey, I love this part of making movies, and whether you're an actor, a writer, a filmmaker, and to just stick to it and find a way to, keep making your stuff. It's just, it's a labor of love, and then your timing will come. I really believe it, for everyone who really wants it for the right reasons.
Yes.
And I just have to say, your like the tweets that you make are so inspiring. Like, I can't express enough how, like, whenever I'm feeling down about like something I wrote, you like stick with it. Like, writing is a process. Like, just keep going. And like, thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, it's the truth too. There's Twitter has its negativity and stuff, and that's just, at least for me, not why I'm on there. And I'm glad, that helps it. That's just, I believe, the only way to approach it. You guys all everyone's got their dreams and their goals, and we all have bad days, and it's important to kind of do the work on the bad days, you know?
Yeah.
Like keep working for them on those bad days, because then you're like, oh wow, like actually it wasn't a bad day. I just had a little bit of frustration that things weren't going on in the timeline I wanted them.
Mhm.
So, you know, I'm just a big believer in doing the work. That, at least for me, that's what's worked. And it's kind of like, oh wow, things are working out. It's like, what do you do? Well, I just wrote every day for 8 years. That's not like some giant secret, you know?
Mhm. Mhm.
I just love your drive and your determination, and just how you were just speaking with us just now. It was like you were already like just encouraging us right now, and I appreciate you for that. I want to know, because you brought up like COVID. Like, did you create the script for the Housewives of the North Pole? Did you create that during COVID, like being down with your downtime and everything?
No, actually, it was a log line and a title that I had in 2015, and it sat on my computer. And then I ended up basically pitching it to my parents, and we ended up writing a script for this great producer, Brad Kervoy. And it was actually set to happen before COVID. And I'll say this, I was literally, you know, I was on such a dry streak with getting work, and I was delivering food, and I was frustrated, and I finally got the call that it was going to happen. This was March 12th or 10th, 2020, like 3 days before COVID, and they're like, it's going to happen. And I was like, oh, like Johnny Drama and Entourage. I was like, yes. Oh my God. And then COVID happened, and then everything fell apart. And so I was like, wow. And then once the pandemic kind of slowed down, everything got back going. And then Peacock came in, and, you know, they turned it into the great movie that it ended up being. And, you know, Kyle Richards and Betsy Brandt and Ron Oliver. And yeah, it happened really fast. They actually shot it in July. So they had like a crazy fast turnaround. It's like,
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh wow.
what is that?
That is amazing. That is like super amazing. I'm a Housewives fanatic, but the fact that the title is that, I was sold, and the trailer had me like. I love Cal Richards. As you can see, my picture is Cal Richards right now. I watch all the Housewives and catching up on all the other ones that I have not seen, but Beverly Hills is my jam. I just finished the season, and I love Cal, and it's just crazy because Cal is actually getting back into acting. She was just in Halloween's Kills, and now with you and everything. So, are you a fan of Housewives, or is this like?
I've seen some of it. You know, I'm not. You know, I'm not a fan of it, but it's not really. I don't really watch reality TV too much. I just I watch so many movies that I find that I don't have time. But you know, it was. I mean, I'm just amazed that, you know, how the production came together, and Kyle did an unbelievable job. I mean, you know, you have a script on paper, and a writer's always like, well, I hope it turns out the way I wrote it. And then when I watched the rough cut, I was like, oh my God, these girls just knocked it out of the park. This is even far, far better than it was on the page. You know, she was able to do that kind of mean girl, you know, who's kind of the like queen bee of the neighborhood, who could be in many ways very unlikable if not cast correctly. And that was my, you know, a worry of mine. And I was like, wow, she's unbelievably likable. And I'm rooting for her, even though her character is doing all these, you know, kind of snobby things. And so, you know, I was just Peacock. They just cast it beautifully. And, you know, it's kind of the writer's dream come true. And because also, you know, it's like once you write it, it's out of your hands. It's like, that's just a writer's job is done when you finish the script, which is also really awesome because it's production and you're not doing anything, which is right. You know, you're on vacation.
One of the many strengths of, because I watched it today, one of the big strengths of your script is just how easy it is for the characters to be naturally charming and charismatic and emotional. You know, none of it came off stiff or you know, like dry or anything. It all felt natural and kept you invested in everything that was happening. So I mean, you did a great job conceptualizing it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, the director did an amazing job, and you know, I loved what they did with all the set pieces, and you know, the town they created. They shot it in like Utah, and you know, they just I think they just cast it right, and that's one of the lessons that I'm learning. You know, my goal is to make films and direct one day, and it's just like, wow, when you cast a movie correctly, it's almost like the dialogue just works, you know, and then when a movie's not cast correctly, you're like, wow, like my lines are so good, and it's kind of funny, you know. I'm sure all of us have watched it. It's like I've watched so many movies, and I always want to know what it was like before, and then when you write something and it gets sold, you kind of are like, wow, I wonder how this is going to turn out. I wonder, and I'm like every single announcement, every single cast member, I'm like, tell me who. Oh my God, that person's playing this. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just kind of been a surreal like 6 months, truthfully, of just kind of enjoying this ride, and everyone is seemingly loving the film, and it's doing really well. And so, you know, we're just kind of hoping that things keep moving, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Our friend Beyond Comics and Anime has a question for you. He asks, any advice for new writers on getting repped? Well,
I will give you a piece of advice. I sold this movie without an agent. I sold my first movie without an agent. And I actually have my first horror movie that's being in production right now. It's like $1 million horror movie that I also sold without an agent. So that is my piece of advice, is write and get your work to producers, because my entire career and every cent I've ever made in this business has been without an agent or a manager. And I've had 3 or 4 agents or managers, and none of them got me work. So I actually don't know how to get an agent or a manager. I think that is one of the things as a writer that not only is it out of your hands, but if you don't find a rep that really loves your writing, you're just doing it for your IMDb Pro. And you'll quickly realize after 2 weeks that no one gives a shit. Like, that's not something to strive for, you know? Having a cool Instagram profile or an IMDb Pro is not something to strive for. At the end of the day, you'll know if someone's fighting and sending your material out, and they have to understand your material enough to get it to the right places. And, you know, if somebody reads your thriller and they see it as a cheap, you know, kind of funky B genre thriller, and you actually wrote something really smart, where they're going to take it to the wrong places and you're going to get bad reactions. So, you know, you have to make sure that you find the right people. And so my advice is to just write great stories, try to write some that you can, you know, are in a budget range that are easier to sell. And then, you know, getting them to producers, which again, that's hard, but it's not as hard as getting an agent, because at the end of the day, a producer is like one stage away from the buyer, you know, and an agent has to take it to a producer who then has to take it to a buyer.
So you would basically, so say, like, for example, you know, you don't know where to find producers, then that would mean that you probably have to move out to areas where, you know, you're able to consistently get in touch with producers.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's different routes. There's some people get into a writer's room if you want to get into television. I know some people have done it through screenwriting competitions. Some people just have a friend who reads a script and happens to know someone's assistant, and they go and you know, a lot of times, like, it's not the script that you write that you give to them that sells. It's like something that's later. So the horror movie I have, and I can't say anything because they haven't announced it yet, but it's like my first like big genre thing, and it happened like a few months ago, was from the same producer who produced my Christmas movie, my first one in 2015. And then he asked for a horror script that had these specific things, and I happen to have one. And so, you know what I mean? It's like, you just want to keep writing, write a lot of stories, and then try to just, you know, be a good person and try to get people to read your stuff, and don't sweat that part of it, because it's kind of a little bit like there's like a, you know, a bit of a magic in the air of how you meet the right people, you know?
Yeah.
There's not really totally like a path to like, you do this and you do that, you know, and all you need is to meet one person, really. You don't need 50 contacts. You need one person who loves your writing, and you'll find it. As long as you keep writing and don't write one script, write 20. and, you know, try to get them out in any capacity, whether that's just giving it to a friend. Sometimes you'll give it to a friend who loves it, meet some actor or something at a bar or something, and that actor is like new and green, and they become the next thing, you know. So it's like, you know, it's like this esoteric quality of how do you get an agent or a manager, how do you get to a producer, and truthfully, I have no idea. It just happens. But I do know that you can write every day, so that's what you should do.
Great advice. That's very.
I know that's not what you want to hear, but that was. I didn't want to hear it too, and then I was like, wow, you can things in control, and you know, focus on what you can control, and that's becoming the best writer you can be, so that when that opportunity comes, you'll deliver. Like that's the best thing you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, okay, now technically, Spyder. Okay, I want to kick it up a notch because
Sure.
now we kind of making it a writer's workshop, and I love
Yes.
this.
Yes,
But
writers are
you know, this is I think a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people don't hear this kind of information because you know I know out there in the ether, a lot of people, you know, give you the same old rigmarole about, oh, if you just go and find, you know, a producer, find you, you know, a manager, find you an agent who will maybe read your stuff, but first you have to talk to this person who knows this person. And, you know, I really like your approach about just cutting the fat out and just doing what you love and, you know, putting it out there. I think that's what a lot of people need to hear.
It's the greatest piece of advice for like the everyday person who just loves writing and doesn't understand the business part of it, and doesn't understand that, you know, in the same way that I continue to not understand that there's just a marketplace that looks for certain things, and you can't predict what that is. Like, you know what I mean? It's not like, you know, there's like a business element of financing, and that part has to come with what can we sell, and instead of, as a writer, trying to like figure out how to craft that idea of what sells, you should write as many good stories that are organic to you, and understand that that's you expanding yourself and upping your chances, not trying to tap into like, oh, this is going to be, you know, they're looking for this type of movie. If you're hearing that from the grapevine, you're way too late too, you know? They've already filled 20 slates with those type of movies. So I just think writers should just write, you know, just like, that's what you got to do. Be good, be great. And that's not easy, you know? I still, I was on vacation, I just wrote another spec script. I was like, you know what? I feel like I still have stuff to learn. I want to try something new, you know? And I think that's that level of passion and, you know, kind of experimentation is what anyone, as any artist, I think should do. And that's, you know, an actor, a filmmaker, painter, musician. It's like, just be bold, be creative, and enjoy the journey, enjoy your life. You know, I know I've met some miserable writers who have a lot more success than I do. And I used to not understand, and then I understood is that they were still waiting for things to happen rather than taking control. So I don't want anyone to have to deal with that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. See, man, I swear you are one of the most positive people out there. My God, I think people
So positive.
still
Absolutely.
Man,
this is what I'm talking about. You know, so
It's
let me switch gears. Let's get real for a second. Okay, so what's your dream genre of film to do? What do you just absolutely want to see yourself doing one day?
My favorite film of all time is Interstellar by Christopher Nolan.
Ooh.
Yeah, and then
Yes.
and I had the most profound experience watching that film. I came out and I was like looking up at the sky, and then I also was like, wow, I can write things that are, you know, out there and wild and just scale. And so I ended up, after that movie, writing like 7 or 8 like huge tentpole scripts. And so my goal is to get some of those made. They're like $150 million ideas. and I think it's my strongest work, and I've got some good meetings off them. But in order to sell one of those, you really have to lock in a producer who can take it to a movie star or an A-list director. And so, that's kind of my ultimate goal is to, write those kind of things, and then also direct a, more contained, like a thriller or something like that. That's kind of my goal. My short-term goal is to, direct like $1 million movie. And so, but like sci-fi and like big tentpole stuff that's like Interstellar in that gritty tone way, and not like, not really broad, but like very kind of like, almost like that emotional sci-fi, like something like Arrival or those kind of movies are some of my favorite stuff. So that's my ultimate goal, is to find a way to sell one of those things. So that's what I'm doing, behind the scenes.
Awesome. See, this is why we're friends. That's what I want to say, because I'm gonna just say it now for future reference. I want this as a clip. One day, I'm telling you people now, we're gonna work on a sci-fi together. I just want y'all to know that.
Fact.
Love it. I love it. So true.
So Spyder, is there any movies that have come out or are coming out that either you just loved watching and experienced this year, or something that's coming out next year or maybe next week or maybe came out already that you haven't seen yet that you're looking forward to seeing?
I still have to see the James Bond movie. That's one that's on my list. But I watched the Will Smith movie, King Richard. Is that right? Mm-hmm. That was phenomenal. I honestly thought that was like the best film I've seen in years. And then the next night I followed up with this movie that was like, I don't know if it was shelved or something, but it was called City of Lies with like Johnny Depp and Forrest Whitaker, and it was unbelievable as well. So I've been on a good movie streak lately with those two. And let's see. I watch a lot of like movies from like random years. I go back and like I've been watching like Tarkovsky, all of his films, like Solaris, and these are like 1970s, 1980s. And then I started watching the new season of Dexter, which I love. But I'll admit there was a lot of movies that I felt were getting produced for the last few years that were just not very interesting to me. And so I'm excited. I think the movies are getting better again, and I think they're getting, they're daring to be a little more, just a little more different again, and I think that's what I like to watch. And then anything that hasn't come out, well, I'm going to go see The Matrix. I'm excited for that. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel really good about the future of cinema. I think there's a lot of promise. And when I see a great film, like some of those I just mentioned, it's just so inspiring, because you're like, wow, as many great movies that have been made in the last 100 years, people are still coming up with stories that are just as original and just as, entertaining and also gripping. And a lot of these things are true stories too, which, it's pretty crazy, because I could see how a true story could also, as a writer, you can make something that's so boring, even though the person's life is so interesting. So whenever I see a great true story that's like executed well, I'm just like, wow, that's like casting, filmmaking, set design, all these things just kind of clicking. And so, yeah, I mean, those are the best movies that I've seen in the last month or so. But yeah, how about you guys? What did I see? What do I need to see?
I mean, I guess all of the most recent movie the four of us have seen is, Spider-Man.
Yeah. Was that good? You like it?
I personally, I don't know if Mike left for a comedic effect or not. I personally loved it. I personally very much so loved it. It did a lot of things that I don't know. Sometimes you watch a movie and you feel like it was specifically made with you in mind. Mm-hmm. And that was my feeling watching No Way Home.
I think I'm one behind on the Spider-Man. I think this is the third one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I saw the first one. The last Marvel movie I saw was the Avengers Endgame. I saw that theaters opening night, and that was an incredible experience. But I haven't seen a Marvel movie since then. because I also felt that was just such a great ending for me. I was like, wow, that's great, but I gotta see that. I'll see that. I like Tom Holland, and I like the cast and stuff. I just there's a lot of these Marvel movies, and having watched the first, what's weird is having the first run of them. I've watched kind of every single one, all the Iron Mans, and I honestly felt that people who didn't watch all of them like suffered because they're all so linked up with Easter eggs and things. Like part of the great element is like kind of that blend of how the universe is so like tackled into solo movies and then combined. Yeah. And now I feel like I've fallen behind the new stuff, all the TV series, WandaVision, all these things that I feel like I can't watch them anymore because I'd be missing all of the Easter, you know what I mean? Like all the Easter eggs and all the stuff that they do such a great job with. When you're a person who's watching all of them, it's like the most rewarding thing. But I took my brother to Avengers, and he'd never seen any of the Thors or any of these other movies, and he was just like, "What is a lot of this stuff?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's from the scene from this last movie and the ring from the." And he's like, he just didn't, And now I've become that person a little bit of just not knowing what's for me. Some of them, that extended universe, which is also I think.
And one more movie from me.
Yeah.
One more movie for me, and I'll toss to you, Mike. Police Story. I saw Police Story for the first time, so yeah.
Ooh.
Police Story.
Ooh.
Yes.
Who made that one?
That's one of Jackie Chan's first big blockbusters he made. Back in 1985. Quintessential action movie.
I've never seen that one. I gotta see it. Police Story. I'm gonna write that down. Remind me of that at the end of this.
Yeah. Check that out.
So what you got, Mike?
I was just gonna ask because we was talking about movies and everything, and then you said you do have a horror movie movie that is in production. So what is your type of horror movie? Like not the movie that's in production, but like what are your type of favorite horror movies and things? Like what do you like of horror movies? Because some of us like gory, some of us like psychological thrillers, some of us like terrors and things like that. What do you like as a horror fanatic?
I mean, The Shining is one of my favorite films, and of course, I also like kind of the I've gone down the rabbit hole of seeing like every single horror movie with like a big plot twist, because I also like some of the gory stuff. I really like the original Saw movie. It's like one of my favorites, and I like all the Conjurings in those movies.
Yes.
But and Jason Blum's horror movies are phenomenal. I mean, that it's just, I think, I also saw a movie called The Babadook that I thought was brilliant. Did you guys see that one?
Yes.
I've heard of it, and I know
My
a lot
God.
of people love it.
Yes, I've seen it.
That's a good movie.
That is a movie, and the movie that I'm in production on right now, which is shooting locally, actually, it's like that. I feel like is the dream where they were. I think that movie was like a $600,000 budget, and it's so scary, and also it got this like kind of pointy theme. I won't spoil it, but like this great like thematic thing at the just based on the whole premise, and so you kind of leave thinking, but also you like were scared out of your mind. So it kind of has both. It's not like some horror movies go down that route of like they're not scary, but they kind of are like deep, but they don't really scare you that well. And so I think that if you can make that combination of something that's actually scary, but not just scary because people are touching people's shoulders and, not full of jump scares and things like that, but like are scary because of like the setting and the tone and whatever is like lurking with. And I think, the writer is very responsible for that. That's why Stephen King stuff is so good. But that was one other movie I saw, Old. M. Night Shyamalan's Old.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it. To me, that is like an idea. I won't say anything, but that as a writer, that idea is so good. Like they go to an island where they're trapped, where they age their whole lives in a day. Like that to me is like such a great concept. I'm like, that's the kind of stuff that I think writers who craft those ideas will, if they're trying to get into those spaces, like they're going to have a great career just off of making a movie that you can just pitch in one line. That's not easy. Very hard.
Speaking of one day,
Yes.
mine would be, since it's the season of Christmas. There's one that came out called Silent Night. It's with Keira Knightley, Matthew Wood. It's pretty much like it takes place during Christmas Day in the English countryside, and it's pretty much the end of the world. And so these group of friends pretty much get together to celebrate the end of the world. And there's a lot of drama and messiness because apparently the Earth is dying. So there's just like this mist that is making their way across the world, and it's killing everybody. And it's pretty much just them in their final hours. It's really good.
It's a great premise.
Oh,
Silent
well,
Night, where can I watch that
my
one?
agenda. I'm
I think
gonna
it's on AMC Plus.
agenda.
I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah, it's really good. Avia,
Uh-huh.
God, I don't remember when you told me about it, but I'm just like, when she broke down the plot to me, I was like, okay, yeah, I got to see this movie. You will not be sorry for watching that. It's really good.
Silent Night. Well, yeah, I'm always looking for good new movies. This time of year is great to watch movies too.
Yeah,
There's just something about December. It's like, all right, let's just
right.
sit on that couch and just
I'm
walk.
gonna push my agenda for like the best Christmas movie ever. If you hadn't seen it, that is A24's The Green Knight.
Yes.
That's a Christmas movie.
Now hold on. Now hold
It
on.
is.
Hold
The
on.
way
It
he
is.
said that,
All the way
is.
to next Christmas. It is Christmas.
I mean,
it
I
is a
agree.
Christmas movie.
I agree
Even
100%.
A24 said it.
I agree 100%, but I don't think it's the best Christmas movie.
Oh,
It is the
here we
best
go.
Christmas movie.
I
Here
mean,
we
there
go.
is
We're not doing this, Q.
as Master Yoda once said, there is another.
I know what it's a new one. I mean, fresh hot out the.
That's the
fresh
television
out the
program. That's a
No,
television program.
No,
That's
it's a new
I gotta
Christmas
see it.
movie that's fresh,
It's a great
hot
movie.
hot out the oven. I mean, I saw it last night. Good Christmas movie. Great Christmas
No, that's not that. No, see now.
I mean, okay,
now Mike
technically,
is trying to
Now,
get a rise out of me. Technically,
no, I'm not trying to get a
the
rise out of
movie
you,
takes
but
place.
technically,
The movie takes place before Hawkeye, and Hawkeye is set during Christmas. Huh?
But it is.
You thought I didn't?
I mean,
you thought I didn't know about that?
Hawkeye
Uno
is the
reverse.
best Christmas. If
Let
you're
me-
gonna
let
talk
me-
about it, Hawkeye is the best Christmas series right now, hot and popping.
We
Well,
talking.
I don't know
We're
about that.
we're in an interview right now. Spyder, I am so sorry these people tried to derail everything. I apologize on behalf of MulDiversity.
I love it.
I
You
will.
guys have an incredible chemistry. It's actually really entertaining.
Wait, you said we have incredible chemistry?
Yeah.
You said that?
I did. You quote me.
Don't make
Oh,
me
thank
cry.
What he said?
Thank
The
you.
man said what he
What he
said.
said.
Like, thank
Yeah,
you.
what he said.
Go on,
It's into the
18
Spider-Verse.
I gotta see that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I love it.
Check it out.
it's great.
Is that girl Florence Pugh? I love her. She's
Yes.
she's great.
Is she?
Like she's such a big. I remember seeing her in Midsummer, and I was like, wow, this girl. And then all of a sudden,
Midsommar.
she's in everything. She's a huge movie star now. But I mean, she's so good. Like A24 seems to just launch just great lower budget films. I mean, they do it. They're like one of the last living like indie film production companies that like
Literally
can make a movie that does well in theaters, which is like, I mean, now you have the streamers. You don't need to go to theaters anymore, which is
right.
wild.
Yeah.
It's a new terrain.
Yep. And if you want a indie like superhero film, I'm just going to go with my other agenda and say, watch Eternals. Watch Marvel's Eternals.
Yes.
You said an indie like thing, but so it just by the way the storytelling element is.
Yes, sir.
How
It's
the way Chloe shoots it.
I think that's one of the only Marvel movies that takes like a real risk before something else. Without getting into spoilers, there's another movie that takes risks, but I think Eternals is your first modern Marvel film that doesn't rely heavily on other things. It doesn't rely on continuity. It's just like it's a very out there film in the best way possible.
I gotta see it.
Yeah.
There's some
Like,
Game of
it's
Thrones
good
actors in
stuff.
that one, right?
Oh yeah.
Man.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I love all those Game of Thrones actors. I'll watch them in anything.
Yes.
they're just they're very fun to watch.
No doubt, no doubt, no doubt. So I'm glad that we were able to, suggest the Eternals to you.
Yes.
I'm also glad that, we are able to acknowledge that Into the Spider-Verse is the definitive Christmas movie.
Yes.
No, the Green Knight is, but okay.
Yeah, I think.
I
remember.
No. Technically, y'all know.
This interview's over.
Oh, you're not about to use Issa on me. No. The best Christmas movie is Eyes Wide Shut, but we're gonna leave that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
I will stand by that.
Man, okay.
You need to leave.
I just checked the time.
No,
I just checked the time.
No, Spyder. I've been trying to tell these people, Eyes Wide
I'm gonna
Shut
watch it
is
tonight.
the best
I ain't even gonna
Christmas
I'm
movie.
to watch it tonight.
First of all, what do you mean by these people? Aaron? What do you mean by these people? What do you mean?
Quamon,
that
Star
think Into the
G, but I'm
Spider-Verse is
trying
a
to be
Christmas
nice because we got company.
That new Spider-Man movie is a Christmas movie.
I thought I sensed some racial tension from you, Aaron. So when you said these people, I figured that it was racially charged, and so I had to just for Spyder, I had to make
movie
sure.
Wasn't it?
I just Eyes Wide Shut. That's my favorite. That's like one of my favorites. So
speak on it.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna let y'all have it. Just with y'all, this is the season of peace and giving. I'm gonna give it to y'all and let y'all have this Eyes Wide Shut. But all I'll say is this:
you're gonna give it to us.
The Spider-Verse, I saw that. I don't even remember that taking place on Christmas.
It did. It was subtle. You had to. It was subtle. You had to look at it. You had to make sure you're paying attention to the background.
You
know what? I didn't come here to be disrespected. I came here to interview Spyder, who's been an amazing guest, amazing interviewee, a very positive individual. And now I am being
positivity,
and now I'm being attacked for my beliefs, which I didn't understand. It's Friday. I'm thought I was going to be with my friends having fun, and then I'm being attacked.
No.
I need a moment. Okay, I'm good. Is Eyes Wide Shut on the Max? If Eyes Wide Shut on the Max,
HBO Max, it is. I just saw it on there.
Yep.
Yeah, let's watch it. Let's watch it tonight and live tweet it.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna commit to that. I don't know.
It's a long one. It's like 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Right.
Like.
Wait, Tom Cruise plays a doctor who's married to a art.
I love the Kyle Richards.
Oh. I'm gonna add this. I'm gonna watch it tonight.
So, Spyder, what are some other things you do that when you're not screenwriting and working? What are some extracurricular things you like to do from time to time when you got the free time?
Well, I mean, honestly, I told you, I'm in the ocean like probably 4 hours a day. Then I love to eat. That's one of my activities I do.
I feel you on that one. I like to eat too. Like eating.
I love eating. I look forward to it. I get out of the ocean. I drive over and I just order as much food as I can. What else? I don't do that much, honestly. It's kind of funny. Like the writing life is like, you write. I finish a script and then I just kind of, mess around, have fun for a couple of weeks, just kind of, do my thing, which,
No video gaming, no like.
I used to play video games. I was really good at video games. I used to play Halo, and I was real good at Smash. I could beat anybody in Smash Bros. I made a lot of money playing people in Smash. But I just I lost my Nintendo and all these, my Xbox and the Move, and then I'm like, I should be. It's too much of a distraction for me. If I have it, I'll just play all day. So I kind of have that addictive personality. So I try to keep things that are bad for me away from my line of sight. So if I've got those video games, I'm not working. I'm not writing. Do you say poker? Do I play poker?
No, I said like reading books. I think Avia's, because I know she liked to gamble on the side. I think Avia brought up.
Put that on me.
I'll play a little online poker. That's fun. I'll go to Palm Springs, do a little gambling there. I don't know. I like to exercise. I like to stay healthy. I try to tell people to be a healthy screenwriter. People don't like to be healthy and be writers. They like to, to go hard. But I'm an anomaly, I guess. I'm like eating carrots while I'm writing and like drinking water and going on walks and stretching. Yeah, it's good. It's good stuff. Can't complain.
Staying physical fit, keeping your brain and your body right for what you're trying to produce and create at the same time.
Yeah,
I get it. I 100% get that.
That's my thing too. It's like I look at it in it like we were talking about, like what's my end goal. It's like at the end of the day, like getting these movies made. I'm incredibly proud and humbled and it's been a long journey to get here. But I also feel like I'm just getting started on what my real, what I'm really after in this business and in this thing. So I just try to stay focused too. Which, it's like sometimes, I wish I could go, do this and do that. And then, you wake up early and you put in the work on your pages and then that script sells and you're like, well, that's the real dream. It's like making this, making these stories happen and making all that time mean something. So, I just tell people it's like, it's corny, but like work hard and believe in yourself and say good things to yourself. Don't let that negative self-talk happen. That's a dangerous route and your dreams will come true. They just don't come true in that like timeline you want,
Mm-hmm.
You want that timeline. I was supposed to do this by this age. I was supposed to do this. It's like, well, guess what? It's going to happen. Just stick to it and enjoy your life, And for me personally, I like right next to my family and friends, it's like surfing and the ocean is my life. And then my computer and my pages. So, yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sound like a nice schedule structure.
Yeah. That's what I tell people. I get up early, write in the morning. I do it on a structure. I don't write at night. I used to do that. Didn't find that to be as productive nor as like mentally good, just that nighttime writing, that night owl writing, you'll get good stuff, but it's hard to keep it going. And that's all I can say about writing. It's like, it's fun. It's a lifestyle. I tell people too, like, make sure you know what you're signing up for. Like being a writer isn't like you write and you sell and then you're in Hollywood. It's like, you're just, you're a writer. So make sure that's what you want to do. If you don't love writing fully, it's kind of a shitty career to chase.
100%.
Yeah.
That is like
Straight
the most
fact.
Taurus thing that's ever come out of this man's mouth. I promise you.
I know. I'm sorry. I like to hammer it into people and into myself. It's just like, that's how you make your dreams reality. And I know everybody on this planet, has something they want to do. And I think everyone can get there. It's just, how much are you willing to do for it?
That's the truth right there. You said a word right there.
Yeah. I'm just like my Twitter account, just churning out motivation, but I do it to myself too. It's great. I'm in here I am in sunny Southern California and things are shining, It's I'm very grateful and I'm excited for this next year and I'm excited for all the people who are also, kind of forging their way and just to, see what this next year opens up. I think many opportunities will be there. And I think that, for anyone, even in this chat room, it's like, if you're trying to be, get your scripts made or sold, or you're trying to do this or make this film, it's like this post-pandemic thing is, I believe, going to open up a lot of opportunities and and the people who have their head down and kind of crushing their game, they're going to see a lot of results.
For sure. I think we got a lot of creators coming out of COVID that are just gonna, blow the lid off.
Yeah.
Do you think there's going to be like this, even though streaming has become a big part, of film and television now, do you think there's going to be like this indie surgence of creators who like make another indie boom like they did in the 90s?
Yeah, I do. I think you just nailed it dead on. I literally think that it's never been a better time to be a creator, and that's why the person who asked earlier about the agent, I know that spinning cycle. I've been there. God, I need an agent. I need a real agent. I need to be at the majors. But I actually think things are shifting towards the people making this stuff. Like the power is going to them. And, even that agency, ICM, they got fucking swallowed up. Sorry, I shouldn't have sworn. They got swallowed up.
No, you're good. You're good here.
Oh, I can swear. Okay. I've been behaving for this, But yeah, I think creators, like, it's going to be their time, as, by the way, it should be, because there's never been a good movie without a great story. And so creators should have more opportunities and more power and more involvement. And I think indie films are going to crush it. And I tell everyone, like, it's like there's about to be a gold rush coming. Like, write your scripts, get your arsenal. Like, how many scripts do you have? Oh, you got 2? I'll have 3. Like, just get that extra one. That extra one piece of material. For me, I would not be sitting here today with a movie made and a movie in production if I didn't write that extra one, because the 2 movies I have going right now are simply from me having written 6 scripts, and instead of saying I've done my job, one of these work, I said, you know what? I got one more in me. Push. That was the one. So, like, I was telling you, like, just max out. Just do one more, Yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm inspired. I want to write right after this. I'm like, I'm gonna hit another one. There's like 10 days left of this year. It's like, make them count.
Right.
You guys do anything for the New Year's?
Ooh, I hopefully maybe I'll be
a countdown special.
The countdown?
Maybe I'll be surrounded by some folks I've been trying to meet online for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
They got me like enthused in them because they asked for my credit card information to help their small country located off the coast of Africa. So I feel invested in them. So maybe I'll see them around that time, maybe not. I know they asked for my social.
Why you full of shit, bro?
What you talking about?
You just I just don't know. Like, I just really feel like, I'm gonna just take your Christmas gift back. I can't deal.
I mean, so
yeah,
do you want me to send yours back then?
Yeah, send it back. Send it back. I don't want nothing.
The bit was that they weren't supposed to know I was talking about y'all, but then Mike just went ahead and
because I read through you. I watch too much reality TV to know what you're doing to us.
What do you mean? I was trying to be funny.
I'm just playing.
But we need to ask Spyder
this
the
has been amazing
question. That's what we need
What
to
is
do.
that?
So Spyder.
What do you want to know?
Spyder Dobrofsky. I have to know.
Good pronunciation, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
It's addicting like crazy. Would you be down to come on for a game night one day?
Yeah. Can we do some drinking though?
We gonna be drinking. We gonna be smoking.
Yes,
we gonna be doing all of it. We might even do some.
You can pour you some wine. You can pour some wine. You can have you some whiskey, man.
Yeah. I love it. Because it's funny. Like I've only online people are like, oh, you write Christmas movies. I'm like, dude, I like to party. I like to surf. It's always that funny thing. Like I was in a fraternity when I was like selling Mother's Day movies. It's always this like kind of funny thing where like the stuff that I've sold is just not really my personality, and it just kind of shows you just like so random all this. But yeah, that sounds great. What kind of game will we be playing?
Cahoots, the greatest game
Cahoots.
known to the internet.
Well,
We're gonna be
We are
cahooting
not
it up.
playing
No.
Cahoots. We're not playing
No.
Cahoots. We're retired. We'll probably be possibly playing Jack Party, and that's about it. We are not
Jackbox
playing
Party.
Cahoots. Jackbox Party, you know what I was talking about.
You guys are funny. How long have you guys been doing this thing for?
Oh man.
Oh God,
About a year?
A full year now.
a
Full
year.
year.
We celebrated our anniversary last week.
Wow.
Before.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is family. Like I adore these people. They have really, I think we've all grown to love each other and just support each other for every career that we are working on. Because we all have different things that we're working on inside of the fandom, outside of the fandom, but I just really feel a connection with them because, like you say, when you said the chemistry, I mean, I feel like we do have chemistry. I feel like we built a bond into that chemistry. So,
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think it's amazing. Like, just human beings are just love. Like, I never imagined when podcasts first started, like listening to them. It's just not. I was like, oh, when am I going to listen to people talk? There's radio, and then it's like all I do is listen to podcasts when driving. Wow, no, it's taken over people's habits. So it's like, it's kind of, it's kind of amazing that, you guys created this thing and it's like, this is the stuff. Like, this is what people listen to. It's what I listen to. And radio's dead. It's like, it's podcast now. It's way easier. It's more convenient and it's fun and it's loose and you can kind of tune in. I love it.
Facts. So,
all right.
is there anything else anybody wants to ask? Any other questions we have for the good bro? Spyder?
Is there anything in the future that you are able to tell us that you're working on? Is there anything you could tell us that you're working on?
It's
You're
just
giving Mom the word now.
Just like a week and a half later, I could tell you guys this thing. I'm dying to tell people, like, just because it's like my first, or it's an original spec script, and it's my first genre, and it's R-rated, and there's blood, and there's sex, and it's awesome.
Let's go.
It's like it's just one of those things where you're like, oh my god. So, I mean, I can't say anything about that. What can I say? I can't. Yeah, it's the weirdest thing too. Like I just can't say anything about these things because they're all like, paperwork you can't say until we make announcement kind of stuff. But all I know is like I'm gonna be announcing a lot of things in 2022, and I'm hoping to just kind of catapult that into more and more projects and just keep leaning into the stuff that I want to do, and hopefully we're going to do a Housewives sequel, and just kind of these things that just the logical conclusion of continuing to tell great stories and be original. And I feel very lucky to be on Peacock. What's weird was when Housewives was originally the title was made, Peacock didn't exist in 2016. So it's kind of funny, like. You know what I mean? Isn't that weird? Like I came up with this thing and it wasn't even around, and now the very platform that does the Housewives and has it on there, and Kyle, it's like it is like there, and it's like one of the big streamers, and it's like it wasn't around. So sometimes you're ahead of your time. I'm like I'm happy that it didn't sell in 2015. It wouldn't have gotten this cast and wouldn't have been the movie that it became. So. But yeah, I can't really tell much. Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't.
Sorry, we'll be on the lookout. Best believe when you share it, we're gonna be boosting it.
Yes, wow.
Yes. We're gonna be just yeah. We're gonna be like,
you guys are awesome. I'm glad
you
it
are
clicked
awesome,
with
sir.
you guys.
You are incredible.
no, you are amazing. Like your
Right.
energy.
I still can't get over it. It's like Kyle Richards' face while you're talking.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I said since I couldn't show
I love it.
just because of my situation with my phone and everything. I was just like, yeah, let me just, because I am a Housewives fanatic.
Yes.
They already know I watch all the Housewives Wednesday, Sundays, whatever day it comes on. I'm catching up on Peacock myself. So the fact that this movie was on Peacock, I was like, this is perfect. So yeah.
Peacock, it was just a dream, and there was. Did you catch all? There was a bunch of cameos of the other housewives in it.
Right.
Yeah. Like I like some people are like they were like tweeting at me and this thing that were like, blah blah was in, and I'm like, yeah, you know, like, you know, it's just great. You know, it's funny that it really taps into, you know, a passion. People love those shows, and you know, I'm watching. You know, I'm getting slowly dragged into it. So, you know, it's
dope.
It's definitely a phenomenon, and I really thank you guys for having me on here. It's been great.
No problem.
Thank
you. Meet all you guys, and I hope all your resolutions and dreams come true this year. And
thank you so much.
Yes.
Holiday, and yeah, I'm definitely down to do a game night on here. I have no idea. I better keep my mouth shut though.
No, you're good. You're good. I do hope I'm going to speak in code for a minute because you're not going to know a thing I'm saying, but I sure do hope one day you and I get to visit New Genesis and Apocalypse. That would be dope.
Yes, indeed.
Just nod and say yes, Spyder. Just nod and say yes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
No, but this was awesome. This was awesome.
So you guys, is there going to be that little epic thing?
Thank you, Spyder.
I love that video, that intro video. What was that? Is that your guys' logo?
It is.
That thing was sweet. I thought it was the opening to a movie I wrote. I was like, oh, this is
oh my god.
It's your logo.
Noted.
It's crazy because we had a Harry Potter episode a few days ago, so we made like a little
intro.
That intro is great. And by the way, I love Harry Potter. I love that.
Yes.
Yeah. Too bad people keep trying to fraudulently DMC our Twitter account because we posted the video to it. You know, we don't see you doing that. You know, I had
legally distinct Harry Potter music.
Right.
Trying to be chaotic by trying to target us is not the wave, yo. Just, you know, y'all ain't gotta be so just lame about that. But in any case, thank you, Spy. If I can call you Spy or Spyder.
Absolutely can.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on out and kicking it with us and chilling with us. Is there anything, socials, anything you want to just promote to the good folks that, you know, so they can know where to find you and look out for that you can speak on? Yeah,
it's just, I think, see that name in the corner. Will they see my name? Spyder Dobro is just my Twitter and my Instagram. If you want some nonstop positivity, come on to Twitter, and Instagram is just me surfing and looking good. So, yeah, that's it. And awesome. You know, I'll catch you guys soon, and thanks again, guys.
All right, and so, you know, it's us, it's MD. Y'all already know who we all collectively are. That has been the man himself, Spyder Dobro. Thank you all for watching. We have been MulDiversity, and we will see y'all later. Everybody say peace on out.
Peace.
Peace.
I got that black magic. Got that black magic. Got that black magic. I got that black magic. Nigga, I was born with a wand in my hand. Boy, you alive for a one night stand. You killed Dumbledore and you didn't mean it, but you did it anyway. Now you gonna feel it. Cause I got that black magic. Got that black magic. Got that black magic. I got that black magic. Nigga, I was born with a wand in my hand. Boy, you alive for a one night stand. You killed Dumbledore and you didn't mean it, but you did it anyway. Now you gonna feel it. And I'm the best of magic, and I'm friends with Hagrid. I don't care for fame, and now I have to grab it. And you think you're savage, but I know better. Got allowed to Hogwarts with a talking letter. He said shit